Marvel's Spider-Man 2 developer responds to fan complaints about lack of info. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is an upcoming action-adventure game developed by Insomniac Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Based on the Marvel Comics character Spider-Man, it features a narrative inspired by the long-running comic book mythology while also deriving from various adaptations in other media. It is the third entry in the Marvel's Spider-Man series, acting as a sequel to Marvel's Spider-Man 2018 and Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales 2020, centering on Peter Parker and Miles Morales as they encounter the sentient symbiote, Venom. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is scheduled to release for the PlayStation 5 in late 2023. Spider-Man 2 will be an action-adventure single-player video game played in a third-person perspective. Players control Peter or Miles as they traverse an open-world New York City and fight enemies. Players can acquire new abilities and collect various Spider-Man suits. Yuri Lowenthal and Najee Jeter reprise their respective roles as Peter Parker/Spider-Man and Miles Morales/Spider-Man from Spider-Man 2018 and Spider-Man Miles Morales 2020. Tony Todd will provide the voice for the symbiote Venom. In a recent interaction on social media, Insomniac Games responded to one fan's inquiry about Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and its notable absence of new details or gameplay footage. Although Insomniac didn't say when more info on Spider-Man 2 might be coming about, it did mention in a subtle manner that development is going well. To that end, Insomniac then asked fans to just hold out a bit longer before more news on Spider-Man 2 comes about. "Because we're in the kitchen," Insomniac said in reference to its ongoing development of Marvel's Spider-Man 2. "It smells good in there, but we just ask for a little more patience." The game's success launched the identically named video game series, beginning with Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, a spin-off sequel focused on Spider-Man's protege Miles Morales, in November 2020. A full sequel, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, is scheduled for release in fall of 2023 for PlayStation 5. While promoting the recently launched Marvel's Spider-Man 2018, in September 2018, the game's creative director Brian Intihar was asked on a Kinda Funny Games podcast about the game's omission of Spider-Man's symbiote suit from the comics. Intihar responded, "I think just making it an unlockable suit wouldn't be doing it justice. It's one of the best stories for Spider-Man. I think it's a complex story. And I think it's a story that needs to be told, and it needs to be told the way Insomniac would tell it." Both the game and its spin-off title Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales 2020 included implicit teases toward future titles, including post-credits scenes alluding to Insomniac Games' intentions to introduce Venom into their narrative, as well as feature Norman Osborn and his son Harry in more prominent roles. When unveiling Miles Morales at Sony's PlayStation 5 reveal event in June 2020, Insomniac stated that a standalone title featuring Miles as the protagonist would not detract from the fact they had much of Peter's story left to tell in future games. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and sister title Marvel's Wolverine were jointly announced by Insomniac Games at the PlayStation Showcase event in September 2021. Brian Intihar and Ryan Smith serve as the game's creative and game directors, respectively reprising their roles from Marvel's Spider-Man, while Yuri Lowenthal, Najee Jeter, and Tony Todd star as Peter Parker, Miles Morales, and Venom, respectively. Motion capture and voice work began by March 2021 according to Lowenthal. Speaking on the This Week in Marvel podcast, Marvel Games Vice President Bill Roseman described the game's narrative as a little darker, as well as the next big chapter. He likened the story's tone to The Empire Strikes Back, 1980, contrasted with how Marvel's Spider-Man's narrative felt tonally similar to the original Star Wars, 1977. In January 2022, Brittany Morris, who previously wrote the Miles Morales tie-in novel Wings of Fury, joined the writing team on the game. The following month, Insomniac had hired freelance artist Davison Carvalho to serve as the game's art director. Carvalho had notably served as a concept artist on the Marvel Cinematic Universe (MCU) films Captain America, Civil War, Doctor Strange, both 2016, Thor, Ragnarok, 2017, and Captain Marvel, 2019. In November 2022, actor Scott Porter, who voiced Harry Osborn throughout the research station missions in the first game, revealed that he was recast in Marvel's Spider-Man 2 to accommodate the character's more prominent role in the story, thereby addressing potential issues such as the age gap between himself and the character as they decided to go photoreal. The following month, Jamie Meyer revealed herself as a co-writer on the game through her personal website and accidentally leaked the game as targeting a launch window in late 2023, which Sony later confirmed in a separate post on the PlayStation blog. While responding to a fan on Twitter in March 2023, Tony Todd said he believed the game would launch in September that year, following a larger marketing campaign slated to begin a month prior. These statements were later retracted. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is an upcoming action-adventure video game based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name, developed by Insomniac Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It is the third overall entry in the Marvel's Spider-Man series, acting as a sequel to Marvel's Spider-Man, 2018, as well as a direct continuation of events from its DLC expansion The City That Never Sleeps and the standalone spin-off Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, 2020. It is set to be released for PlayStation 5 in fall 2023. An additional game centered on Miles Morales, titled Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, was announced in June 2020 and released for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 worldwide on November 12, 2020. It was released for Windows on November 18, 2022. The story takes place roughly a year after the first game's conclusion, with players controlling Miles as New York City's only Spider-Man while Peter has traveled to Symkaria as a photographer to cover an ongoing civil war. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 was announced in September 2021 and is scheduled to be released in late 2023 for PlayStation 5. Intihar and Smith will return as creative director and game director, respectively. Lowenthal and Jeter reprise their roles as Peter Parker and Miles Morales, with Tony Todd voicing the character Venom. Related Marvel games. Sony Interactive Entertainment published Marvel's Iron Man VR in July 2020, developed by Camouflage for the PlayStation VR headset and based on the Marvel Comics character. Game director Ryan Payton suggested that while the intent was to tell a self-contained story, there were opportunities to link the worlds, and he expressed hope that future Spider-Man games from Insomniac could connect the two titles. Alongside Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Insomniac Games also announced a standalone game titled Marvel's Wolverine, based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name, which is set to be released in late 2024 and also is in development for PlayStation 5. It is intended to share continuity with the Spider-Man games, with the game being co-directed by Brian Horton and Cameron Christian, the creative director and game director of Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, respectively.